So we'll go ahead with questions. Raise your hand and we'll get the mic to you.
Yeah, Javon, what have you seen out of Julian Humphrey this offseason, especially as he looks like someone who's primed to play a role for this team at that cornerback position?
Julio's actually had an amazing offseason. Really just sharpening the tools that he already had. Great speed. I'm a guy that comes in to work day in and day out, and really I'm excited to see him contribute to help this team this year because he definitely put in the work and deserves an opportunity to play.
And Javon, there's been a battle for that other cornerback position outside of Kamari. What do you think that competition between, whether it's Nyland, Julio, AJ, what it really does to kind of promote the competitive spirit between the team and bring out the best in the rest of the group?
It's competition all across the board, not even just from that position by itself. It's competition in every position actually. Everybody's still competing for a spot. Coach Smart does a great job of really just showing everybody that nobody's entitled to have a designated position. But specifically for that spot, man, I know the DB room loves it. It brings excitement to us, our room specifically. And all those guys really come in to work day in and day out, so it's really just a coach's decision at the end of the day. But whoever fills in that role will definitely help us throughout the year. All those guys are more than capable of helping us.
Do you feel fully indoctrinated at this point, being back at safety, and just does that give you kind of more juice for the season? It's like being in a whole new position and doing all that. Has that kind of made it all the work worthwhile?
Like I said, I just love the game. I love football, so really doesn't matter what position they put me at. As far as just like adapting to the role, really just whatever the team needs me to do, I'm dialing 100% towards doing that. So I love it, man. I love it. I'm playing with a great group of guys, great defense, and really just those guys that bring that football spirit to come in and work day in and day out. So it makes my job a lot easier when I know I'm coming to work with guys, and even when I probably don't have the best practice, it's still really just the energy that those guys bring around me and the juice that they have kind of lifts me up. So really just adapting to that new role, trying to find ways to play within the system and really just make plays when my numbers call.
So Marvin Harrison said last week, no, I'm just kidding. So you come in with a lot of experience and depth in that back end. What is it like not just having the starters like you, Tyke, and Malachi, but having guys like Dan Jackson, David Daniel, just guys with a lot of reps? How assuring is that for you, especially a team that wants to limit a lot of explosive plays on the back end?
It's huge. Just with that experience, and our practices are much harder than games. So Coach Smart does a great job, and along with the rest of the coaching staff, they do a great job of putting us in uncomfortable positions just to see how comfortable we can get with being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Just dialing in those guys coming in and work day in and day out. Like I said, like I know it sounds repetitive, but like those guys definitely come to work. We come to work each and every day. And like I said, nobody's entitled to a designated spot. It just shows the depth that we try to have here. And injuries happen. Things happen, things go wrong, but it's always a next man up mentality, and we do a great job of having that next player to be ready when that time comes.
So this is a one question, three different players. So Kirby was asked on ESPN the other day during a podcast, what players have had great falls. And so I want to ask you about Mekhi Muse and Jackson Meeks were two of the players you named. And the only guy you named on defense was you. So what does that mean that your head coach would give you that kind of shout out for your fall camp? And what can you tell us about Muse and Meeks that you think might have impressed Kirby so much this fall?
Well, I'm gonna start off by saying Muse is a great player. Just a phenomenal player. The guy comes in and works. When I say works, I mean works. His effort stands out amongst everybody. He comes into work day in and day out, like from the beginning of practice to the end. And the same thing with Meeks, man. Me and Jack came in together, and just his growth as a player, just his development as a whole, just come in and really just buying into his role, whether that's catching the deep ball, whether that's blocking the defensive end, just buying into that role or playing special teams. Both of those guys just really just adapt with their roles, and they do the best job that they could possibly do, giving us the best chance of going in any game and doing their job. Like, we have full trust in them. Like, when they go in, when plays are designed for them, we trust those guys to make those plays just because of what they do at practice. So those two guys coming to work day in and day out in this huge 5 team. And as far as me, it's huge, man. I appreciate them for, sending a shout out. I just love the game, man. Practice, it's definitely tough, but like with the change, the secondary, with the position move, he's been in my ear a lot, and I look forward to him, giving me advice and things like that, and really just dialing into what the advice that he gives me, and trying to zone in and taking it from the meter to the field.
So you still get the mic, even though he calls you out positive, you still hear your name on the microphone.
Oh, I got my name called today. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I don't care who you are, everybody get that mic.
Javon, what has the energy been like on defense this week? Knowing we've got a couple more days, you're gonna go get somebody else. Just what's it been like in the build-up during game week?
Like a lot of juice, man. A lot of juice. I was just excited to see some college football this past weekend, man. It was huge for me just to watch it on TV. We ain't even got to play it yet, but it's coming, man. A lot of energy, man. A lot of intense energy and competitive energy on both sides of the ball, not just the defensive side. Offense brings the juice every day, and just going against those guys, knowing that we get to attack and play somebody else, is exciting as a team, man. And just coming together, I can't wait, man. I can't wait to get back between those edges.
Why were the guys so excited to hear about Curious Jackson making the Titans today?
I mean, that's our brother. That's our brother, man. That's huge, man. And I was just saying I was gonna call him later, man, just to congratulate him, because that's huge, and it's really huge for me because me and Kiera's we grew up around the same places, so it's huge, man. I'm proud of him. He's motivation to me, and I gotta give him a call, man, because that really it hit my heart, man, because it's huge, man, and a guy that put so much work in and it's finally paying off for him. I'm excited to see it.
Speaking of a guy from your area, Mark Gordon, you played at Perry. I know y'all in the same region. Did y'all play against each other in high school?
I'm not really sure. What's his name?
Mark Gordon.
Mark Gordon.
Maybe a couple years younger.
I was about to say, I'm not really familiar with names, but if I see his face, I probably know.
Kind of a name that's forgotten in the back end of the defense, Ja'Cory Thomas. What have you seen from his freshman year to his sophomore year in terms of growth, and do you think he's a guy that could potentially earn snaps later on in the year?
Definitely, man. Ja'Cory plays with great effort every day. I've definitely seen the growth from a mental aspect of things. Ja'Cory was already physically gifted by the time he stepped on campus, but it was always, the defense is hard, man. It's hard to learn. We do a plethora of different things. Like, it's from a freshman playing, and like only knowing maybe 6 coverages to coming in and knowing 60. That's a huge jump. And just the mental side of things, man, he's growing. He's still growing. We all still growing, but I've seen that jump from Ja'Cory on the mental side of things, just being able to take coaching, being able to take criticism. And I definitely think he could help us, whether that's on defense or whether that's on special teams. I feel like our football team would be better if Ja'Cory was on the field.
Last 2 seasons, you guys opened against top 5 Clemson, top 10 Oregon team. A little bit of a different vibe this year. So how do you process that? Total respect to Tennessee Martin, but it's there on a different level. So how do you handle that?
We don't care who we play. We're trying to win. We're trying to dominate. So whether that's UT Martin, New England Patriots, we want to win. And that's how we go into every game. We played Clemson 2021 and Oregon, like you said, but we're going into that game. We're going into those games just like we're going into this one. It really doesn't matter who we play. We're stepping between those edges, stepping between those lines. We want to dominate. That's just what it is.
Time for 2 more questions?
Yeah, with Kamari dealing with the foot injury and his status being uncertain for Saturday, how does the secondary sort of change in the event that he's not out there, and what maybe changes for you guys in terms of what you guys try to do?
Kamar's a great player. As far as changing, whether Kamar plays or not, standard's a standard. You know, like I said, it's always a process of next man up. We got to be ready with or without Kamar. And of course, we want to have him out there. I mean, he's a playmaker. He's a huge difference maker in the defense. But, you know, if things don't go our way in that area, we got to be ready to play. So, yeah, it's really just a next man up mentality.
You're a big hitter. Do you remember your first big hit last college football season, and what did that feel like? Just walk me through that moment. Are you anticipating that moment this year?
I can't really remember it in game. A lot of hits at practice. Like I said, I practice is much harder than games, so I can't. We hit hard every day. Speaking of like myself and a lot of other guys, I mean it's physical. It get real physical out there. I can't really walk you through one specific hit, but just the physicality that we bring day in and day out and every day through the week is what really just defines what we do on Saturdays. We want to win the day, and if you win the day, you win the week, and if you win the week, you usually win the game. So the team that prepares the best throughout the week usually wins the game, and that's how we try to do it.
Thank you.